Right, so how should you be drinking water?
Well, what we say is that actually the problem is with drinking water little and often is that our cells never reach full satiety and they gradually become dehydrated. And the problem with this is that when the cells become dehydrated, they store fat. Right. So actually drinking little and often...
So is that... I had to read this a couple of times this morning, so I thought, you know, all we hear is, like, drink more water and, you know, have the bottle there and sip it through the day. So if I understood this, if you had a dry sponge, and you just put little drips of water on it through the day, it would take a long time to fluff up or hydrate.
Absolutely.
Where if you poured a whole big glass of water on it, it would hydrate quite quickly.
That's exactly That's a great explanation.
Great analogy, actually. But more than that, if you just sip, which I used to do until I met Fleur, I always had a bottle and I was sort of sipping through the day, as I think a lot of us do, it actually dehydrates you and makes you gain fat. Who would have thought that the way you drink water can make you fat?
You think I'm eating crisps all day. All I'm doing is sipping water and I'm just blowing up like that.
It's all about water. Right, I just want to do a few myths with you. So eat little and often. Do you eat little and often with this?
I used to. I don't anymore, because what Fleur trained me to do was to not snack, have about 5 hours between a meal. You see, as Fleur will explain, our brains and our bodies are equipped to deal with it, because our DNA is still in caveman times, and, you know, they didn't have snacks then.
True, but people say, Fleur, oh, no, but if you eat little and often, you keep your insulin levels up and everything is on an even keel and you never get starving.
But that's a bit like putting a sticking plaster on a wound. Actually, what you want to be able to do is to reduce your meal frequency and move around in between, and you'll produce plenty of energy.
And do you feel energetic with this kind of diet?
I feel completely transformed, because, I mean, I've always been, you know, quite a fit and healthy person. So when I first met Fleur, I didn't think, you know, I thought, you know, what's she going to teach me? I know how to eat. And she completely transformed the way I eat. And the biggest result that took me by surprise and I wasn't expecting is that my energy levels were completely transformed. And I always struggled a little bit with my energy, and I didn't know why. But actually, it's a very common syndrome with people. They call it tired all the time syndrome that a lot of people have.
And Fleur, I just want you to just show me some, because you're saying this is basically the foods that you would recommend in the diet.
Not breakfast. Let's start with breakfast, yeah?
Yes.
Here we are.
Well, what we're saying is that actually you shouldn't get up and eat your breakfast. What you should do is move around, do what you have to do. When you're ready to rest and digest, then have a really good breakfast. Here we've got
all the advice I've heard is kickstart your engine in the morning. Now, I have to admit, I don't have a breakfast and I do 3 hours of work or so, and then I have something to eat, probably. On the basis of your theory, I should be a bit lighter than I am.
But you probably have coffee and caffeine and all that stuff.
Never touched my lips. Never touched my lips. I swear.
You should only have with a meal.
I think the problem with me maybe might be Chinese takeaways about 11 o'clock at night. That may have something to do.
It's what you eat. So it's when you eat, what you eat, when you exercise, because, you know, what we're saying is that ideally, and this doesn't work for everybody, so you have to fit it into your day. Like for me, when I'm not too busy or working, I'll get up and I'll exercise in a fasted state, and then after that I'll have a meal. So I'll have, you know, my first meal will probably be lunchtime. So there's a little bit of intermittent fasting going on. So from my dinner the night before, I probably won't eat until lunchtime. Now, I never thought I could do that, because I was very attached and fond of breakfast, and I was alarmed when Fleur said, you know, exercise in a fasted state. But I literally adjusted in about a week, and I'm just not hungry in the morning anymore.
Well, a lot of it probably is adjusting, isn't it? You're not going to get used to something overnight.